Before this video begins, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, be sure to check out my affiliate links down below to get discounts on different car mods and products. Alright, let's get into the review. Hello and welcome. Today we are reviewing a 2020 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport. This has a 5-foot short bed and is a 4-wheel drive model. I would like to thank Flood Ford Lincoln in Narragansett, Rhode Island for allowing me to both review and test drive this truck. Make sure to check that video out, coming out soon on the channel. Alright, so this is a 2020 Tacoma. This is a 4-wheel drive model, and this has the 5-foot bed in the rear. It also comes with the tonneau cover in this particular model. So this has a gas engine, a 3.5-liter V6, producing about 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque. This is mated with a 6-speed automatic shiftable transmission, and it does achieve 4 mpg, 19 in the city, 24 on the highway, and 21 mpg combined. And that comes with a 21.1 gallon fuel tank. As for towing and utility, this has about 6,600 pounds of towing capacity and 1,370 pounds for its max payload. For suspension, this does have front independent suspension and front and rear stabilizer bars. On the exterior, this is finished in white, and it does have a gray and black cloth interior. This sticker is for about $38,000 currently, with about 29,000 miles on it. This is about 212 inches long and is about 75 inches wide. It is also about 70.6 inches tall, with a ground clearance of 9.4 inches. Down below, this does have both a full-size spare tire, and it does have one skid plate up front. Up in the front, this has LED lights all around, front and rear, and it does have a nice little hood scoop look. I do not believe it is functional, but it does look pretty cool. As for body lines, this looks pretty similar from about 2016 on. The Tacoma has looked in this generation, but in this facelift version, it does look pretty good in my opinion. And it does come on this truck with some window guards, so those are nice. As for curb weight, this weighs in at about 4,200 pounds and weighs about 5,600 pounds gross weight. As for safety features in here, you do get lane departure alert with lane keep assist, you do get a pre-collision safety system, and you do get daytime running lights, and you do get emergency braking assist. And let's have a step outside. Alright, so for the exterior of this Tacoma, finished in white, I think it looks pretty good. So this is a TRD Sport, this is not a TRD Pro, the real off-road version of this truck, but this has some cred for going off-road. It has 9.4 inches of ground clearance, as I mentioned, and it's pretty tough looking overall, and of course a nice durable truck. As for wheels, this rides on some 17-inch alloy wheels, and for the tires wrapped around that, you do get 265s all around. They have some pretty nice tread in there too. On the side, you get a nice body crease line right there beneath the Tacoma badge. And you do get, of course, these window guards right here. There is no sunroof in this particular model. Here you get an easy open fuel cap, so that's nice to have. Here's your TRD Sport badging, and then you do get a tonneau cover right here. This is my new advertising. Alright, so if you open the trunk bed like this, it is a nice damped tailgate, and then back here it is a composite bed liner. So that's very good to have. Very light door as well. Then down below you get, of course, your tow hitch, and then down there you're going to get a full-size spare tire. And for the rear, in the profile, I think it looks pretty proportionate. With a 6-foot bed it could be a bit longer, but I like the 5-foot bed in its proportions. I think on the side it looks pretty nice. And this is a double cab, so it does have the larger of the two options versus extended cab for the rear passengers. And let's have a step inside. So for your door panel in here, it's not all that luxurious, but it's not really trying to be. This is more of a budget Tacoma. It has a nice appearance package, but it doesn't have too much more in terms of utility. So right here is going to be hard plastic, unfortunately, but here is a nice padded, like hexagonal type of padded area, and some nice hard rubber right here. But then the rest of this is going to be all hard touch. I wish they'd done a little bit more just to make it a little nicer inside. Here you do get a power seat, which is kind of rare for a Tacoma with cloth seats, so that's nice they added it in. It does have two-way lumbar support and basic power functions. To the left of your steering wheel, you do get traction control off. You get your bed power outlets back there, auto high beams on or off, and you do get your general lights for in the bed. For your gauge cluster in here, it is going to be a fully analog gauge for your tach and speedometer, and you do get your temp and gas gauges, of course, but then in the center you do get a digital multimedia screen, so that is nice to have. It's very easy to manipulate with a simple 4-way arrow pad right there. Then on your steering wheel, it's a pretty nice wheel. It's leather wrapped, perforated, and some very nice bolstering. And it's kind of like a Tundra wheel. I like it. And then it's pretty simple buttons, which is nice, whereas a lot of brands make it very complex, even just on the steering wheel to use, but I like this so far. And then you do get a cruise control lever down there, which I like, because my personal car has that, and I think it's just easier. Then you get an 8-inch infotainment system over here. You get hard buttons, though, which is nice. Toyota listened to customers that, like Honda, they didn't want everything to be digital. It was just way too fussy to deal with, but they put it back in, so I like that. Then you get these vents, kind of like a Jeep Wrangler. Some utilitarian vents, but they do their job well. I like them. Then down below there, it's a pretty basic truck, but you do get full 4-wheel drive setting. So you get 4 low, 4 high, and of course we're currently in 2-wheel drive. Here you get a lot of big hard buttons, which is nice if you're going to be using this as a work truck to grab with, say, gloves or just in general. They're rubber lined, they're not junky or cheap, overly cheap feeling. Here you get a lane departure button, ECT power, parking sensors, and here you get a rear push, which is cool. And here you get a rear push window, so that's powered and it'll open and close like so. So that's very cool. Here you get a USB Type A, and you do get a Qi for your wireless charging pad right here. That can house your phone. And you get a normal 12 volt there, of course. It's a very basic truck inside. It's not luxurious at all, really, but because all this is hard plastic, there's not any soft plastic to be found, except right about here. But that's okay. This Tacoma isn't necessarily trying to be a luxury truck. So it's just a very well-made work truck. It has what it needs and nothing that it doesn't. It's a no-frills trim of the Tacoma. They do make nicer ones. And then you get a glove box over here, nicely damped and pretty large. For your seats, of course, you do get the power driver's seat, and then you do get a full manual controls for the passenger. Here's your shifter with that 6-speed. Pretty simple to use. And here's your reverse camera. It's pretty low quality in my opinion. That's not just a Toyota thing. Almost every brand I've tested has pretty terrible backup cameras. It's just something a lot of brands skimp on. So that's not really a negative in my mind. And for seating position in here, it's pretty good. You can get pretty low like a car, but you can also go very high and commanding like a truck. And there's a lot of headroom. I'm 6 feet tall. I have tons of it, so that's good. For your center armrest, you do get a couple tiers like a larger truck. So that's very nice to have. And you do get a Type A and a Type C port for USB down inside of there. And that's going to be about it for the front, but you do retain a manual handbrake, which is nice, and a rarity these days, so I like that. And let's step in the back, check out the rear seat room. Alright, so the seat is where I was. I'm 6 feet tall. I don't have all that much knee room left. This is a bit of course, a smaller truck. This is like a Ford Ranger competitor, and Honda Ridgeline, technically Hyundai Santa Cruz as well. But yeah, knee room isn't all that great, but head and elbow room are actually good. I just think the window sill, the top one, is just a little bit low for my liking, but that's okay. I have lots of headroom in here. It's pretty comfortable. It's just I do have to spread out a little bit down below because my knees do bump into this seat considerably. Here you don't get rear AC vent ports, which is okay, but you also don't get a USB port or a 12-volt port, which I'm a bit surprised by. I wish they had included that. But the seats themselves back here, they're pretty supportive with good lower back support, which is nice. And of course, they have that power sliding window I just showed you. And there is no center pull down right here, though. So that's kind of unfortunate. I wish they had included that inside of here. But yeah, that's about it for the back. But there is one storage thing I'd like to show you. So if you pull down on here, it's a 60-40 split. You do get some deep storage behind all 3 of the seats, so that's very nice. A nice hidden storage cubby for secure items or just anything. Alright, so for my final thoughts on this 2020 Tacoma, I think it's a very nice truck for what it is. It's just being a truck, that's all it is. It's a TRD Sport package, not TRD Pro, so it's not trying to be an over-the-top off-roading vehicle. And it's not like a top limited trim or something up there, where it is trying to be a luxury truck either. This is just being a Tacoma. It does what it does well, and it's a basic truck. It's not all that exciting, but I think it looks pretty good from the outside. And overall, the interior is not bad. It has enough creature comforts. And yeah, I really do wish it had some softer touch materials, though. These seem far out of date, in my opinion. All these hard plastics, like they could have done at least rubberized materials, but these are just solid hard plastic, most of the areas. However, just as a driver, just resting my elbows and stuff, it is okay. Alrighty, thank you very much to Flood Ford Lincoln in Narragansett, Rhode Island, for allowing me to both review and drive this truck. Next, I'll be driving it, so make sure to check that out soon on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.